Proactive Caregiving Podcast. As a CPA with over 20 years as an industry accountant, Jessica stepped away from the corporate world to become a full-time caregiver for her mother. Having learned invaluable lessons along the way, she is now here to share those with you and to invite you to join her on this caregiver's journey. Here is your host, Jessica Cannon.
This coming Monday, Mom has a doctor's appointment. I'm already feeling the nerves because last week at her appointment, it's odd. It's definitely the definition of insanity because each time I go, I expect something different, something easier, and it's always the same. So, knowing this, I arrive to pick her up. I get there in plenty of time. I know now to give her at least 2 hours before an appointment. You never know. Got to change her clothes because of whatever reason. I always want her to look her best in the even if it's just a doctor's appointment. I always want her to look her best, whether she has showered that day or not. And that's a whole nother issue. So you got to add an extra hour if she has to shower. But in this case, she didn't have to shower. So I arrive and I'm doing the glance over, seeing what kind of state of mind is she in? What does she look like? What's her behavior or her mood for the point in time? Because that also tells me how much of an adventure we're going to have. But I get there and she's in somewhat of a good mood, and I let her know it's time to go to our appointment. Let's start getting ready. And it's the usual rebuttal. I don't want to have to do this. I don't need to do this. Can we just do it another time? I don't feel like it. And it's like, well, let's just get it done. Let's go through this. Let's get it over with. But before, and while I'm talking to her, I notice right away, there's some stains on her shirt. Okay, so maybe she hasn't had a shower today yet. So let's get you changed. I go in and pull out some clothes for her, and I'm just trying to say, let's just do this. It's going to be quick and easy. Let's get through this. But let's give you some clean clothes before we go, just to be on the safe side. Maybe just the shirt. She goes and she takes the shirt off. But as she takes the shirt off, I noticed a little bit of lint in her cleavage. And I thought, okay, we definitely haven't had a shower today yet, so let's just change it all to be on the safe side. And so I go out and I pick out the clothes. And it's the usual conversation. I don't need to take this off or that off. It's still good. I don't even want to get into the definitions of what's still good, but we go through the steps. Let's take the shirt off. Let's change the undergarments. We get the bra changed out, put a shirt on, and I hand her a pair of underwear, and let's change out the underwear. I'm going to let you do this all on your own. So I hand it to her. Don't say anything other than, here you go. Here are the clean ones. She goes to put the clean ones on over the other ones. And it's hard at this point. I want to laugh, and I do, but at the same time, it's in my mind, I want to correct her, and I have to remember that's not helpful at this point. She doesn't realize that's what she's doing. And so I have to kneel down in front of her and say, hang on, let me help you here. And that's something that's also a struggle for her, accepting the help. But she's getting to the point where she's accepting it more and more because it's a workout to change her clothes. I mean, before I could leave them on the bed and she could go through it and do it on her own. But as time has gone on, I can't do that anymore. I have to actually help her change her clothes. So I said, hang on. Let me help you here. I kneel down in front of her, help her pull the other ones off, which that in itself is very awkward. And I've learned to just focus on the panties and don't follow them all the way up because, it's my parent, and I help her shower, but I still want her to feel like she has a sense of dignity and she has privacy, and I'm not looking when she's looking. And so trying to focus on something else in the room. And oh, yeah, there's the brush. She's got to brush her hair. But I can't tell her while she's putting the underwear on because that'll confuse her even more. So we go through this step by step, painful step by step. She realizes she made a mistake once I try to pull her the clean ones back and say, hold on, let's get the other ones off first. She grabs them, she puts them on, gets through them. At this point, she is winded. She is struggling to continue. And so let me help you get the pants on. And we step through this, and here's your brush. Go ahead and brush your hair. And as she's stroking the brush through her hair, she's just getting more and more tired. And I said, okay, one more thing. Let's go to the restroom before we leave so we don't have to make any emergency stops on the way. Again, I don't need to. I don't have to. I did this already. I don't want to. But she's also sitting on the bed partially. But as soon as she stands up, it's, oh yeah, it's probably better that I go. It's a plug, like a mental plug, a physical plug that releases that pressure that finally tells the body there's a sensation that says, oh yeah, I do have to maybe go pee. And I chanced it by trying to add one more step onto this and say, oh, while you're in there, you need to maybe brush your teeth because you don't want to have bad breath in front of the doctor. Knowing full well it's not the bad breath, it's just, has she brushed her teeth today? I'm sure she had already had lunch. This appointment was after lunchtime. Let's just go ahead and do it anyways. So she nods her head, says, yeah, sure. She goes in the bathroom and it's quiet. Again, I'm trying to give her privacy, trying not to rush in, but I have no idea what's going on. And I'm asking at the door, Mom, are you brushing? Are you okay? Do you need any help? And she says, no, I'm okay. I had to go poop. That's also the usual. She goes from not needing to go to the restroom to having to do far more. And again, this is what I know. Before a doctor's office appointment, you got to give at least 2 hours because you never know. It's not just traffic anymore. You never know what is going to be needed at that point in time. So she comes out of the restroom finally. And she's forgotten to brush her teeth. Did you wash your hands? Did you brush your teeth? Are we good to go? And she's agitated at this point because I'm asking questions. And she's just tired because this has been a workout. Getting out of the bed and getting dressed and going to the bathroom, she's ready to just lay back down. She doesn't want to have to leave now. So I tell her, don't worry, we're almost there. We're just going to get in the car and you can go for the ride with me. But give me a second because I'm going to go to the restroom too, so I don't have to go on the way. Never know what to expect in traffic. So she steps aside and I go to the bathroom. While I'm in the restroom, I hear a door close. And I'm going, wonder who just walked in. Or I step out when I'm done and say, hey, Mom. Mom? Mom? Oh, great. She's taken off and left me again. By the time I get out of there, she is already at the front entrance, ready to leave, and they're trying to stop her like, where are you going? What are you doing? And I'm hollering from the hallway saying, no, it's okay. I'm here. She just got way ahead of me all of a sudden. She went from no energy at all whatsoever to sprinting to the front door because she knows she's going somewhere, but she doesn't know where. She just knows she's going somewhere. So we get outside, get in the car, get settled. Again, more questions for her. And I know at this point I'm driving her crazy because I won't just leave her be, but I want to know. I need to know. They're going to ask me questions, but for me, I like to know. So, how's your day going? What'd you have for breakfast? I don't know. Same old stuff. Well, what's the same old stuff? I don't know. Okay. Did you have the cream of wheat? Did you have bacon and eggs? Oh yeah, there was bacon. There was cream of wheat. And suddenly the memory is there. But I had to help her. And at the same time, I go from feeling good because, okay, I helped her jog her memory, but then not necessarily the memory for that morning. So we get to the doctor's office and right away the questions, any new symptoms? Nope, I'm doing fine. Because in that particular moment, yes, she was doing fine. But over the period of the last appointment to now, there were some changes. There were some things. There's medication had to be updated. And they needed to know from then to now, what is the difference? That's where I can see my mother's face just kind of go from this adult grown woman in front of me to this young flirtatious teenager. And now, as the male nurse is putting this information and updating the system, she's giggling and she wants to let him know that her latest symptom is a lack of nookie. And I here we go. There's the flirty little girl coming out, and she's out and getting attention. And on one hand, I'm like, let's just let this be. They know different. They know what's going on. But on the other hand, the more she giggles and the more comments that come out, I'm like, okay, let's taper this down. Let's just stick to the facts. Well, that's a fact. Okay, so let's not stick to all the facts. Let's just taper this down. And eventually the doctor comes in. It's somewhat of the same thing, but all of a sudden, I guess the presence, it was like a child in the presence of not necessarily a parent, but maybe the school principal kind of thing. And she got quiet and didn't want to speak up. And again, the questions come up. They need to know her status, her medical status. What are the changes? What do we need to know going forward? Are the changes in medications helping? Are you having any other problems? Are you having any difficulties? And she's just fine as can be. So once I remind the doctor, mention this is what's happening. She's getting winded more often. She's not sweating as much in her face. I mean, going through the details of it, she looks at me like I'm tattling on her. Like she didn't want him to know this. And that's still a frustration because she doesn't accept that the doctor's there to help you. But to her, he's in my private business and he's just going to give me more medication. And I was like, well, at this point, the stage of this journey, I really don't like calling it a disease, but in the stage of this journey, this disability, deterioration, however you understand it, medication is part of it. And unfortunately, when you don't have someone who's willing to change their lifestyle habits at this point in the game, or let alone understand why the changes would be beneficial, medication is the alternative. So we get through the appointment, and eventually coming out of there, I'm saying, are you ready for a snack? Are you ready for like early dinner, a second lunch, later lunch, or something to that effect? And she's like, yeah, sure, let's go eat. What do you want? Here come the questions. I don't know. What do you feel like? I don't know. Well, would you like this? No. Would you like that? No. Would you like, ew, no. And I was like, well, you certainly know what you don't want. Again, this is one of those things that there's too many options. And she can't visualize what I'm saying as much. For someone, if I said you feel like a burger, some of you your mouth may salivate. You're thinking about the cheesy bacon burger with fries or something. Hopefully not, because that's not really good. But occasionally if you say that, that's what comes to mind. But for her, it's not the same. The only thing she can remember is what she's always had in years past. And the first thing that came to mind was liver and onions. And I'm going, God, no, please, no liver and onions. Anything but that. And at that point in time, I thought, quality of life. If that's what she wants, then that's what I need to find for her. I guess unlucky for her, lucky for me, we weren't anywhere close in town that that I knew was going to serve liver and onions. So I got out of that one, and we ended up going somewhere else for a healthy lunch, or what I consider as healthy. But once we got back to her facility and helping her get settled back in. She was all more than happy to be back in bed, under the covers, just settled in. That was an outing. She was exhausted. She was just not looking forward to having to do this again. So I told her, if anything, she got a break. She had a week off until we go to the next appointment. But those are the moments that I've learned how to make as many exceptions in mind and time, or anything that will help with reducing stress and making it seem as simple for her as it really is, even though some of these things are gradually getting more and more difficult for her. And even though it was just a doctor's office appointment, it was still time spent with her. She had her tablet to play her games on, and I had a book to read, and occasionally I would try to have conversation, but it's all you can do, right? I love you, Mom.
Thank you for joining us today. We really hope you've enjoyed this episode. To learn more about proactive caregiving and to hear other episodes of this podcast, please visit www.jessicalazelcannon.com. This podcast is produced by Cannon Light Media, LLC, www.cannonlightmedia.com. Music provided by Khris Paradise.